On a river that sustains millions of people,
We regard the Mekong River as a mother.
exploding growth in trade and demands for electric power,
It's growing very fast.
new dams and navigation channels destroy the natural balance and a way of life.
This is not Mekong anymore. It's something else.
It begins its journey on the high plateau of Tibet, flowing nearly 5,000 kilometers through southern China, Burma, Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia, reaching the sea in Vietnam, carrying the history of this land on its currents. The Mekong River is cherished as the heart and soul of mainland Southeast Asia.
For the local people, we regard the Mekong River as a mother. The word "mẹ" means mother, and we call her like our mother because she provides us food and culture and traditions.
On the banks of the Mekong and its branches, more than 60 million people depend on this waterway for the essentials of their lives. Environmental activist Pianporn Ditith says the river now faces serious threats.
People say that the Mekong is changing, and for them it's like their mother are being hurt by someone else, and they feel that they can do anything in order to save the life of their mothers.
We catch fish like this these days. Small fish, and not too many.
Sao Rawang Sri is 77 years old. He's been fishing this part of the Mekong in Thailand for well over half a century.
I used to catch fish that were 60, 70, 90 kilograms. If you take away or destroy the food for the fish and the places they live in the river, there'll be no life for people here.
During the last 5 years, people living and working on the river have seen the Mekong change dramatically. The cause of these changes is no mystery. Hundreds of kilometers upstream in China, where the Mekong is known as the Langchang River, the Chinese government has built 2 new hydroelectric dams during the past 10 years to generate power for its skyrocketing domestic needs. The dams affect the flow of the Mekong downstream, in the wet seasons, storing water and decreasing flood levels, and in the dry seasons, releasing water and raising the level of the river above its natural flow. And the impact downstream is proving disastrous for many communities. In the dry seasons, families living along these banks have always relied on them for growing vegetables, for household consumption and sale.
Most of this is just for us to eat at home, but we might sell some of it.
Nakorn Jitangkul is a fisherman and gardener. He's been raising cabbage, lettuce, and other vegetables here in Chiang Khong, Thailand, since he was a boy.
In the past, there was a large garden covering this entire place.
As the river's water level decreases, it exposes riverbanks and sandbars that have been fertilized by sediment from the river flow. And for many poor families without farmland, crops from these riverbank gardens are their only source of income and sustenance. But since the dams were built in China, gardens like these have been repeatedly washed away by unexpected floods that had never occurred before in the dry seasons.
The flow of the river has changed, so the land for cultivation here has also changed. It's causing many problems for everyone because there's no fish, no farm, no garden for small people like us.
I come here every day to water and weed my garden. We need to sell what we grow here.
Manida Woodicorn makes a little money each day, selling her vegetables in town. She's been doing this for 5 years, but she says it's now becoming impossible. These days, the river could unexpectedly rise and destroy this garden tomorrow.
There's not much land here now for planting. Only a few families can grow their gardens here.
Her husband, Nippon, grows bean sprouts in the river sand.
The river is unpredictable now. Some days it goes up, then tomorrow it goes down again. Small people like us can't do a job like this anymore. It's very difficult.
The Mekong River here no longer flows in a natural cycle of flood and drought. It's manipulated by decisions made by men upstream. Responding to demand for electric power, the managers of the Chinese dams release water through their turbines, quickly raising the level of the river downstream. Virtually overnight, the Mekong becomes a powerfully destructive force in China, Burma, Thailand, and Laos, eroding its banks and wiping out the carefully tended crops of thousands of families. In the dry season, villagers harvest a wild river algae called kai that grows in shallow water near the banks. It's an important source of protein and food security for these people. But kai grows only in clear water that allows sunlight to reach it. And now, with changing river levels and more sediment in the water, kai is disappearing along many stretches of the Mekong. Behind the changes on the Mekong, there are powerful market forces at work, driving a rapid transformation of Southeast Asia's economies. The giant engine behind this is the astonishing growth in China, a massive market for the products of these nations and a highly competitive exporter of the products they need. Here at the port of Chiang Saen in Thailand, a Chinese cargo boat unloads a shipment of apples, cabbage, and garlic. At the same time, another boat is loaded with fish sauce and dried fruit from Thailand. Trade with China is big business here, and it's growing.
There's much more business here than when I started 6 years ago. It's growing very fast.
Expansion of trade on the river led to a free navigation agreement between China, Burma, Laos, and Thailand, allowing ships from all 4 nations to navigate freely on the Mekong. And that has resulted in further man-made changes to the river. Citing the need for navigation improvements to allow use of much larger cargo ships, Chinese engineers have dynamited rapids and shoals on the river in Laos and Burma, blasting away rocky obstructions and clearing deeper channels for traffic.
It is trying to make the mighty Mekong, the rough river, to be a smooth superhighway for the large ships.
Chinese authorities claim they conducted this work in accordance with a world-class environmental impact assessment that complies with the laws of all 4 nations. The other parties to the navigation agreement were reluctant to object, but there was wide disapproval. Many feel the rapids are an essential part of this river.
And they said the Mekong actually is not the river. It is the river with the rock, a lot of rocks that is symbolic of Mekong. So it means that this is not Mekong anymore, it's something else.
4 years ago, after much of the river was blasted and cleared upstream from Thailand's border, the Thai government called for a halt to the project. But profound changes to the Mekong had already happened. Blasting the rapids resulted in increased water velocity, contributing still further to the river's drastic fluctuations in levels. and it has caused serious damage to the river's ecology. The Mekong has supported one of the world's most diverse fisheries, nearly 800 species of fish, second only to the Amazon. And experts say rapids like these play a major role in the life cycles of many fish that live in the Mekong. The fishermen here have always known that.
These big rocks are living areas for the fish. It's where they lay their eggs.
Without the rapids that provide essential habitat for fish to feed and breed, the Mekong's fisheries could decline drastically. But China insists on the need to continue its navigation improvement project by blasting away these rapids along the Thai-Lao border, and then to dredge a safe channel for giant cargo ships.
But if the Chinese government agree with their plan to have 13 dams and blasting all the rapids, Mekong will be just a big canal with no life in the river. No life, I mean biological life and cultural life. Everything will be destroyed.
Coming up, how building dams in a war zone will affect thousands of families.